OK, let's start today with front page story over all the newspapers. Today, you might have seen the documentary on Saturday night. Comedian Russell Brand is facing more allegations about how he treated women. This is just days after the Channel 4 Dispatches programme investigated allegations from 4 women who've all accused him of various forms of sexual assault, including rape. Now, this was part of a wider investigation in conjunction with the Times and the Sunday Times newspapers. Russell Brand denies all allegations against him. Colin, I know you watched the Dispatches documentary on Saturday night. What was your... It was like an hour and a half long. So it was a hard watch, actually. What were your initial feelings once you've seen it?
It was just shocking. I mean, I don't know why I'm shocked, but I was so shocked. And the shocking thing for me is that kind of just watching it and then going, all the signs kind of were there in what they're accusing him of. Because I've never been to see him do stand-up or anything like that. But when they showed his stand-up routines in it, and I'm all for, you know, I love comedians and I love the fact that they can push boundaries and they can make us all talk about things. But the way he spoke about women, so derogatory, just scared me, like even watching those small clips. And it wasn't just me, it was, you know, my partner, it was Kira's boyfriend. Like they were saying, why would you ever? It wasn't even funny, it was just vile. And you kind of watch it, and I was just, each section of it was just more and more shocking as it went along. And the fact that then the next day reading stuff online and all of that, and people saying, oh, why didn't they come forward earlier? Almost like they're blaming the women again. It was...
Well, that happens every time, doesn't it, Janet?
Absolutely.
And particularly in these historical cases, people say, well, why didn't they say something at the time? But
well, why they don't, sorry to interrupt you, they don't say anything because at the time he was already a big star, and they think, well, if he's on Channel 4 and he's on the BBC, then he must be, you know, he's going to be believed against me. And I think...
And some of them were in very junior positions, of course, as
exactly.
well, weren't they?
Well, that always the way, and we've all experienced
that attitude, Janet, that he had towards women, like
yes.
what he was saying.
Yes.
That's what shocked me.
Well, I found out because in November 2007, I was doing a series of interviews for a women's magazine, and they wanted me to interview Russell Brand. So he came round to my house in London, and I cooked him a vegan lunch, and he brought me a great big bunch of flowers and was charming and went on about his favourite subject, himself, for about 4 hours. And in the end, to get rid of him, I had to invent an appointment to get him out of the house. But that's the thing about Russell Brand. He's incredibly charming and babbling and full of himself. But there were some signs. So last night, I looked at that interview was after he had said he was a sex addict and had gone to a clinic, rehab for sex addiction. So in the interview, I asked him, you know, so I've got a friend who's been to treated for sex addiction, and he said he felt very lonely and lost afterwards. And Russell said to me in the interview, well, I would get turned on by being shown around a house by a female estate agent. I'd catch the smell of her hair and I'd think, why not? And it just seems natural. Now, that to me, in retrospect, seems really, really creepy. And then I ask him, well, you're really well known, so how do you evaluate who wants to know you for who you really are? And he goes, well, I always wanted fame. If someone says if women are only sleeping with you because you're famous, I say, well, I am famous, so it's perfect. It's a fair kind of trade.
I mean, the thing is, there were allegations, and we say allegations because Russell Brand denies it all, Brenda, and I have to reiterate that, that certain junior members of the team were sent to pick women from the audience who Russell Brand had allegedly picked out and said, give her my number or bring them backstage. You know, so they said they felt like they were kind of being pimped to go out and get women for him. Again, they're all allegations at this point. And he's denied everything. But, you know, so many times, I mean, this is not just television. If we broaden this out, Brenda, I hear this a lot of these abuses of power of people in very powerful positions and younger members, junior members of staff.
For me, it's instead of, you know, you were saying about the victims, the alleged victims being blamed as why haven't they come out. I am kind of tired of hearing that there are people within organisations, whether it's in TV, music or wherever, just any organisation, that they were aware and the red flags were raised. If you're raising a red flag, then why is that not investigated? Why are you putting that on the alleged victim? There should be something done about that in the organisation.
Well, I think... Sorry, Brenda, sorry.
I just think that they should be held to account. It's too late after the affair, after it's happened. You've got to think about these alleged victims, and if they're saying one as young as 16, and for 16 years they've had to put up with that mentally, what that does to somebody and the scarring that has on somebody, it's irreparable.
I give them every credit for coming out now, because it's a very, very brave thing to do.
And often it just takes one person to be brave enough to do that.
Well, that's what happened with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
That finally it did come out, and, you know, Zelda Perkins, who worked so closely with him, who watched it all, was forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and the impact it had on her and her life. I mean, it absolutely devastated her. But I know that before all this Russell Brand affair, you know, just from working in television as an executive, there were stories of male presenters on the radio and on television who would routinely ask producers to come and read them the script, and they'd be lying in the bath with their bits out first thing in the morning. And, you know,
but that's what's shocking to people.
Why did
I mean,
you put
we
up
work
with
in
it?
this industry and we hear things and you hear these things, and often you think, oh, I'm sure that's just a Chinese whisper that's got, you know, but you hear them too often. But for other people, you think, why is that, you know, it's the minute somebody tells a senior member of staff, I went into this person's dressing room, they were naked in the bath and asked me to take a seat while we read through the script. Surely that's the point when they should be spoken to. And this is what seems to have happened,
and,
that people are questioning Channel 4, they're questioning Endemol, the production company, they're questioning the agents, they're questioning, you know,
but some of the worst offenders from the past are still working. And what Russell Brand has done that's so clever is he's reinvented himself as a wellness guru. So what he's cast himself out as now is a kind of alternative champion. So he champions conspiracy theories, he's anti-vaccine, he kind of talks this mumbo-jumbo of, you know, yoga and Middle Eastern philosophy and health food and veganism. It's all muddled up together, and he's having the same impact that someone like Andrew Tate is. So consequently, when he did his show on Saturday night in Watford, there are people who will believe him, who, you know, think he's fantastic.
But we have to say, you know, they are allegations. Russell posted a video on his social media. This is before the Dispatches programme. And he says, amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. During that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I seriously refute these very, very serious criminal allegations. We have to say that. I'm sure it won't be the last we've heard of this. I mean, it's across every single newspaper, the story today, all the commentators starting to write their pieces as well. But that's all we can say about it at the moment, because, as we said, they are allegations.